Hello, it's Gordon here, and it's a sport video, golf, Ryder Cup review 2018. So if you don't like sport, if you don't like golf, it might not be for you. Although there are some goal achievement nuggets in there because, as I say all the time, it's one of the reasons I love sport, because there's goal achievement theory and examples as clear as day in sport, almost as clear as in any other area of life. So the Ryder Cup has just taken place this weekend gone, a 3-day event between the United States and Europe. And I used to watch the Ryder Cup on the BBC for many years. And let's go back in history. The first Ryder Cup was staged in 1927 between the United States and Great Britain. And what happened in the later years was that it became so dominant that the US would win time after time after time after time after time, that the British team had to extend to allow players from continental Europe. Then they changed the name to Great Britain and Ireland, and then it's just a European team now. And that has balanced out the competition. So it's made it much tastier over the last many years now. And it's held every 2 years. It's held in the States, and then 2 years later it's held in Europe. 2 years later it's held in the States, 2 years later held in Europe. Hello Emma. Emma's saying hi. Talking about the Ryder Cup. Do you watch golf or the Ryder Cup at all, Emma? Very exciting. And golf is a funny sport. I like playing golf. I'm horrendous at it, really horrendous, but I do enjoy it. And golf is a funny sport because it's an individual sport and the events are on every year. But it is a sport rich in tradition, rich in history and rich in etiquette about doing things the right way. So I like that. The Ryder Cup, because it's only every 2 years, that automatically adds a certain something to it. It's then a team event as opposed to an individual event, and that adds a certain something else to it. Emma, I don't watch it. I used to work for a golf company selling clothing and carts and whatnot. Now, funny you should say that, because in my turning passions into profits theme, I've used sport. In my case, it was sports merchandise, specifically NFL, American football replica helmets. Believe me, I made a lot of money doing that, and sport is big business, and particularly golf is big business. And you will know very well, Emma, when it comes to sports golfing equipment, it costs a lot of money. It's not a cheap game to play, and people will pay this kind of money. And these companies that sell the golf equipment have affiliate programs, so you can promote or recommend their products online and get paid a commission if someone goes on to buy. It is a classic way of making money online. That's part of my passion profits theme, which now is all in my Transform Your Life Now program. But anyway, I've got a little sidestep there. Emma, yeah, very pricey for gloves, tees, carts, clubs, clothing. Yes, there is nothing in golf that is cheap. There really isn't. Very expensive. And what that actually means is that the second-hand market is also something that you can profit from, because people go to the second-hand market because it's that much cheaper. Anyway, back to the actual sport. And because it's a team event, there are 12 players from America, and the shoes as well, says Emma. Yes, 12 players from America and 12 players from Europe. And 10 of them qualify automatically. If you play various tournaments around the world over the year, you can earn Ryder Cup qualification points depending on where you finish. And the top 10 in that qualification list are automatically in the team. Right? But then the captain of each team also has 2 wildcard picks, and that always creates controversy. Because, for example, the American captain this year picked Tiger Woods, who has just won a tournament and is a legend in golf, but has never played well in the Ryder Cup. He doesn't fit in to the team environment. Remember, golf is a solo individual game. Whereas the European team, the European captain, picked Sergio Garcia. Again, a legend in the game, but someone who is not playing that well at the moment, but does play well in the Ryder Cup, does fit in to the team environment. And Tiger Woods in this event just gone, didn't play very well. Sergio Garcia did play well. And it tends to be the case, to be honest, that the American team doesn't gel well as a team, but the European team does play well as a team. Now you might think, if it's an individual event, how does the team thing work? Well, it's because whereas in an individual event, it's what's called medal play, where you play 18 holes, and the idea is to get around the 18 holes in as fewer shots as possible. And you do that over 3 or 4 rounds, and then the lowest score wins the tournament. That's how golf is played on an individual basis. In the Ryder Cup, it's what they call match play, where it is you're playing against you're scoring against the person that you're playing against, and it's scored per hole. So you go to the first hole, and if you score less than your opponent on that hole, you win the hole. It doesn't matter how many you take. You could take 8 or 9 shots, but if your opponent takes 9 or 10 shots, you win the hole, and that's what the score is. And then you move on to the second hole, and if you both take the same number of shots on each hole, you halve the hole. So that's what match play is. And that means that in the Ryder Cup, you get this bang, 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 bang atmosphere that match play can develop. And when the Ryder Cup is in Europe, which it was this time, so it's our home event for us Europeans, when we do well, the cheers ring around the course. And the scores, there'll be a scoreboard on all of the holes, and the scores go up. And what that does is it motivates the other European players. That's how it works in a team event. Emma, I think I will need a replay on what you said there, Gordon. What about match play versus medal play? Basically, match play, you are playing your opponent. Whereas normally in golf, you're playing the course. It doesn't matter what your opponent is you're going around with. That's just who you happen to be going around with. You're playing against the course. Whereas in match play, you are playing your opponent. But that's what generates excitement in the Ryder Cup. Now, when it comes to qualifying, I mentioned these qualifying positions. One of the European players is called Paul Casey, Englishman. And he hasn't played in the Ryder Cup for 10 years. Remember, it's only every 2 years. And he decided a couple of years ago that he was going to try and qualify for the Ryder Cup, because the Ryder Cup is now big, a big event in golf. Over the last 20 years, it's really grown again to be a massive event. So he decided to qualify. And it's really interesting because, remember, golf is an individual event and these are professional sportsmen. So they're entering events to win money. But he picked which events he was going to enter on the basis that they had Ryder Cup qualification points. So it's an interesting goal achievement point, isn't there? There are different ways to achieve it, and he set out a goal of not only earning his money as a professional golfer, but doing it at events which would give him more chance of qualifying for the Ryder Cup, which he did for the first time in 10 years. And one of the other players that qualified for the Ryder Cup was a player called Torbjorn Olesen from Denmark. Not particularly well known, and he's world ranked number 45 in the world. So you think, what's he doing there? There's only 12 players in a team. Well, he qualified, And that's the beauty of the Ryder Cup, because he doesn't have to be picked by a captain, or he doesn't have to be picked by the media or the fans. He earned his place on merit by himself. Superb. So your individual actions can earn you a place in a team event. Brilliant. And because of that qualification system, the American team had 6 of the current world's top 10 in their team. So you think, well, they were red hot favourites to beat Europe. And in fact, it wasn't particularly close this time, the event. The Europeans won the event fairly easily. And you get the recriminations afterwards about the team that loses always has a bit of a hoo-ha afterwards. And that started with the Americans. And Thomas Bjorn, who was the captain of the European team this time around, he spoke about a previous captain, Ian Woosnam, a Welshman who was a great Ryder Cup player, not a great Ryder Cup captain. And what Thomas Bjorn said about Ian Woosnam was that he's not someone who's weighed down with a lot of leadership qualities. Because when Thomas Bjorn was playing, he missed out on a Ryder Cup place when Ian Woosnam was the captain. And Ian Woosnam didn't even tell him. He didn't even pick up the phone. Thomas Bjorn found out by reading it in the press or seeing it on television. So he said, my relationship with Ian Woosnam is dead and will remain so. Quite severe words. And there was some bad news from the Ryder Cup, because Brooks Koepka, one of the American players, one of his tee shots hit a spectator in the crowd. Now, it does happen in golf. When you see golfers shouting out four, when they hit a wayward shot, they're actually warning the crowd that a golf ball is coming their way because it's really dangerous. And spectators do get hit. I'm going to say fairly often, but you know, it's not rare for a spectator to get hit. Let's put it like that. And there's a 49-year-old Frenchwoman got hit by his tee shot, one of his tee shots. And at the time it thought, oh yeah, she wasn't that badly injured, but she's actually been blinded in her eye. The surgeons, they said there was a fracture of her right eye socket and an explosion of the eyeball. And she's blind now in her right eye. And Brooks Koepka said, to find that out is the worst day of my life. Because imagine doing that to someone. There's nothing he can do about it. It is just one of those things. And it sounds glib dismissing it. She's lost her eyesight. She's a French woman. It was in Paris, by the way, this year. First time it's ever been in France, and she travelled back from Egypt to watch it in her home country. Extremely sad. But that's the downside of sport. Sport is human theatre played out in the theatre of sport, which is why I love it so much. The good, the bad, the ups, the downs, the greys, the colours, and a bit of sequins. I love it. So, yes, the Ryder Cup. I've spoken about the format, why I like it. Now, I only got to watch the highlights this year because the BBC have lost the rights. They lost the rights a few years ago to show the Ryder Cup. The BBC have lost the right to most of their major sporting events because they just can't compete with commercial broadcasters. So the Ryder Cup went to commercial broadcasting and the BBC only show highlights. And normally I don't like watching highlights of golf because by definition, if you're watching highlights of golf, when the player goes to take a shot, it's either going to be a good shot or a bad shot, isn't it? Because otherwise they wouldn't be showing it. So you're sort of spoiling the story if you get what I mean. But with the Ryder Cup, it works because A, I didn't know the result, and B, you get this bang, bang, bang atmosphere that I spoke about, and the raising and the ratcheting up of the atmosphere over the 3-day event. Because all these match play events take place on the Friday and Saturday, and then on Sunday it's singles. So one player from Europe will play one player from the States. So it is an individual event, but it's still match play, and they're playing for the team. Oh, yeah, two other things about the format I was going to say. What they do in the morning and the afternoon is they play 2 Americans versus 2 Europeans. Okay, and in one session, all 4 of them hit a golf ball, and it's the lowest score from the 2 balls of the Americans, and it's the lowest score from the 2 players from the Europe that counts. Whereas in the other session on the day, they play 1 ball each, but take it in turn to hit the same ball. Now that really is unique to the Ryder Cup, and that is so you can get one golf legend hitting a shot, and then the next shot is hit by his teammate. So you could have one player who hits the ball into the rough, and the other player's got to deal with the problem shot. Oh, superb. I love it. Anyway, I think I've been going on enough about the Ryder Cup, and I was going to mention about turning your passion into profit, but I've already discussed that because that is something I cover in my Passion Profits content. Because you can turn any passion, whatever your passion is, you can turn it into profit online. And the reason I know it is because I've done it. And I did it with sport, and I did it with movies, and I did it with music. And I wrote about how I did it in my book, fbpassionprofits.com. There's the book there, and I give you the exact examples, including that sports example. And that's one of the reasons why I developed a course, because presenting the information, it's good information by the way, presenting the information is one thing, but in the course and in my program, in my Transform Your Life Now program, that moves it one step further because it actually involves interaction between me and people who are in the program. And so we can work on an individual's passion and what action the individual could take and provide motivation and belief and accountability to the individual, which you don't necessarily get if I just say, well, here's the information in the book that I wrote, go and read the book and away you go and do it yourself. That's not quite as effective, is it? So that's one of the reasons I developed my course, the Transform Your Life Now program. And that covers health, wealth, career, relationships and lifestyle. So the Passion Profits thing definitely fits into that. And then the profits you can make with it allow you to free up other areas of your life. So it all works quite well together, I think. And it also allows me to waffle on about sport a lot. and I'm still doing this experiment with the live videos. I quite enjoy doing it and I think it works. But it does mean that I don't have to write away all my articles. I used to enjoy doing the blog posts, to be honest. But with current events and thoughts that just crop up, it means that I can just turn the phone on and do a video, and that works just as well in this day and age, / if not better. So anyway, there we know. There we are, talking about the Ryder Cup. If I spoke about turning your passion into profit, would it be sport? Would it be music? Would it be movies? What else would it be? Emma, I prefer videos to blogs. I'm sort of going that way. I'm enjoying doing the videos, I must be honest. Sometimes I like reading because you speed read and you can skim, which you can't necessarily do in a video, of course. But ultimately the idea is that you're trying to actually engage people. And if you're engaging people, then they're going to want to watch your videos anyway. That's the whole point of tapping into what I call the abundance of opportunity that the internet allows. That I can do this video live in full colour and it can go around the world for free And then people can watch the replay if they're not watching it live. It doesn't cost a penny. All you need is internet access. Unbelievable opportunity. Emma, it says you can put yourself into it. Yes, rather than just words on a page. Yes. I mean, as it happens, when I write as I speak. I write in a conversational style, which works quite well. Well, certainly works well for me, because people say rather kindly that they enjoy reading my writing. But yeah, video, you don't have to worry about grammar and punctuation and pacing. You can just go with the video. Emma, this is coming from someone who listens to audiobooks 9 times out of 10 than reading. Yeah, now you see, I haven't got into audiobooks. But here's the thing, I like reading, but I like reading real books. I don't particularly like reading ebooks or PDFs. That doesn't really, I don't know why, I just can't seem to get used to it on the screen. So if I'm reading, I like it to be a book, a physical book that I will hold in my hands. So yes, there we are. Despite my attempts at keeping my videos under 10 minutes, I've been going 21 minutes, but that's okay with a live video because we've had a bit of interaction. That's the whole point of doing a live video. So I will sign off. Yes, Emma preferred the hard copy. Of course, people say, well, you can print out a PDF. Well, yes, you can print out a PDF, but A, that takes your printing facilities, and B, you're then left with a load of sheets of paper looking like a report or some kind of manual. So I don't think that really works. There is something about a physical book, and I'm a bit of a book smeller. I don't know if that makes me freaky. Emma, paper is not quite the same as a book. No, it isn't. And you get that smell of a book, don't you? A, you get the smell of a brand new book, and then B, you get the smell of an old book. I hope that doesn't sound too weird. I love the smell of books. Maybe I should do a video about that. Anyway, yes, signing off for now. Emma, the smell of new books, yes, and the smell of old books, surely. The smell of old books are sort of musty, sort of, oh, there we go, musty. It's just the word. What a word. Because if you use the word musty, people say, oh, musty book. People know exactly what you're talking about. You can almost smell the word, can't you? Mind you, there are plenty of other words that you can almost smell as well, but let's not go there. Signing off for now. Wishing you, as ever, health and happiness, and I will speak to you again soon.